Hello and welcome to All For United with me, Jonathan and MUWFC on YouTube and Twitter. As always, Natalie's here with me. Hello, Natalie.
Hiya, John.
How you keeping? You okay?
Yeah, doing good. Good to be on again, isn't it? Talking about the games.
Fantastic, yeah. And on a week where Manchester United women's team have had 1 million followers on Instagram, on a week where there's been transfer gossip with one of our defenders and Barcelona players, on a week where we played City twice, on a week where Tobin Heath scored a fantastic thunderbolt, in the team of the week, nominated for player of the month, Katie Stoney nominated for manager of the month. We've got all that. And to help us go through that, we've got Zoe on the show as well. Hello, Zoe.
Hello, thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. Very much appreciated. We'll introduce you a little bit more in a bit, Zoe, about what you get up to and how you're part of the Barmy Army and all this kind of stuff. But we just want to get straight into it. Natalie texting me, I think it came through on my phone about 2 o'clock one of the nights, saying, "John, I want to talk about this." So I was like, "Okay, no problem." Natalie, just go with it, mate.
Yeah, last week we were on with Stuart, and we were talking about the fact that Everton game got postponed and we were building up to the derby. And Stuart said, it is disgraceful that it's postponed. Don't expect that from a big team. You expect, a team like Everton who've put a lot of money behind their women's team, you expect them to be able to play matches, And obviously, Casey was very strong in her statement against it. And now what she's done is she's come out and done a complaint. And I think for me, it's good. It's she's putting her head above the parapet. She's, saying, no, this is a standard and you fell below it. And we're letting you know that it's not good enough. And, for me, I was so pleased when I see it, because you see a lot of people moan about refs, or you see a lot of people moan about, the scheduling. But she's actually put it in writing, and the FA have to respond to that and say, which they probably will. They'll probably say, "Oh, it's nothing," or "Oh, it's this," brush it under the carpet. But the fact that she's come out, put it in writing, and let everyone know she's put it in writing, so people will be chasing that up, waiting to see what the FA say about it. For me, I think it's fantastic. Setting a standard for the women's game. It goes across the bottom here, changing the face, Man United, of football, women's football forever. And I think by her, coming out with the comments that she's been coming out with recently, and doing the things that her actions now, I think it's fantastic. And it's sort of saying, we're Man United, we have this standard, and we think that you can do better. So we're gonna, and there's people saying, "Oh, she just wants the points." It's not about the points. It's about, not sort of accepting a sort of substandard for women's football. And I'm proud of her for doing it. I know you've got a little point as well on it, John, and we were laughing over it, weren't we? It's funny.
Yeah, it is. And first of all, just to touch on what you said there, I do thoroughly agree. It's great that she's actually done something formal about it, and rightly so. And even if nothing comes of it, at least it makes the FA and it makes people stand up, doesn't it, and make them realise that within 24 hours notice you can't go doing things like this. And maybe the City games would have been slightly different if we'd already played that game and had points in the bag. Would the City games been any differently? Maybe not. But yeah, for me, it was just a bit funny to see on Twitter how even like the Merseyside rivalry between Liverpool and Everton, they was like making forces on Twitter and just anything against Man United. And I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit in this show and in future shows, because it really is hotting up now. You talk about hated, adored, never ignored, and I'm really feeling that everyone talking about just now, and it's only a good thing. People only talk about you when you're winning, and they're not very happy with it. Zoe, what did you think about that Everton post-Parliament? Did you think there was something slightly iffy about it, or did it take you by surprise at all?
It took me by surprise that the game got called off, and at such late notice as well. And I just, when I read it, I just thought, how is that allowed to happen in this top flight? And we've been all campaigning about respecting the Conti Cup and making it so fans can watch it, especially during this time. And I just feel like some of the teams, like the likes of Everton, aren't respecting it enough if they're going to be calling games off last minute. And it just didn't seem to add up. It didn't seem clear enough that, like, what had happened. And yeah, like you said, it didn't add up. And what also got me in the article that I read was how they came out and said, oh, well, here's 2 other dates that we can play at. Well, if they've not been able to fulfill the fixture, how should they be the ones that are allowed to say, here's the dates that we actually want? So, yeah, I wasn't happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you to everybody who's joining us at the moment. John, Mark, Sofia. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Is it
Marie?
Marie, yeah.
Marie.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who's joining in. Zoe, just a little bit of an introduction for yourself then. So, how long have you been with the Barmy Army for? What was your first encounter with Natalie and the rest of the Barmy Army? Just tell us a little bit about your background. It's the first time that you're on the show.
Well, it's funny you specifically say Natalie because I knew Natalie a long time before Natalie knew me, because she's the one that we can hear loudest at games, and she'd walk around handing out songbooks and whatnot. I was always a little bit afraid of approaching everybody and saying, oh, can I kind of come and sit with you? But my first proper encounter with the Barmy Army was last season for the Tottenham away game. That was the first time I joined up with them and kind of met them all properly. And they haven't been able to shake me off since. So.
Yeah.
Go on, Natalie. What was your memory?
Never be frightened to come over. I might be loud, but it's all a big family here, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's great to be a part of it.
Natalie was the first one that I saw on Twitter, and I started to drop a few comments on Natalie's tweets. It was about this time. When would it have been? It would have been about 12 months ago, roughly. Maybe even a little bit longer. And then, it would have been a lot longer than that, because I first met you at the Etihad, which would have been in September last year. Yeah, so that was the first time I actually messaged you and saw you in person. But yeah, it is definitely a great family environment, and it's just getting bigger and stronger, and everyone's enjoying it. And we're not even seeing each other since February, so, and I feel like we're getting stronger and bigger and closer, and we haven't even seen each other in person for that long. So yeah, absolutely. A comment on here, United game got called off. We was talking about the Everton Conti Cup game a week or 2 ago, Charlie. So that was what that conversation was about. John's in the comments as always. Thank you, John. I think if there were no fans in the stadium, why would the stadium be unfit to host the game? I think that got mentioned on Twitter a bit. It's definitely worth asking, isn't it? Just before we get on to the City games, a couple of things in the news this week. So Lauren James got her first call up for the Lionesses. It was only a matter of time. Natalie, what was your thoughts on finally getting called up?
So happy. 2018, she was playing in the under 19, so that was like two years ago. And Lauren's always been special. Everyone who watches the Man United women, whether it's just watching the first game last night or been watching since the start, you can tell how good of a player she is. And there's been a lot of calls. People have been asking since the championship, and even then, I've seen people go, "Oh, she wasn't ready then." No, she's been ready since the start for me, and she is a fantastic player. She just looks even better now. But John said it there, buzzing, absolutely excited. And I mean, I'll tell you a little story now. She was at the under 19s camp. I saw her there. We got invited by another player, so I think it was me and Dave went down. I think even little Alex Neil was there, giving him a shout out. And we went down, watched the game. It was a good game. And after, LJ's like, "Oh, yeah, let's go." And I'm thinking, LJ? And she starts going, "Whoa, you've got Leah Goldson." I'm thinking, oh, it was great. She was like, "Oh, I love all the songs. I love everything. It's so good. I love you guys. Thanks for coming and supporting." And it's just, running around St. George's Park singing songs with Lauren James, and I'm just, people are so happy, fantastic. She's going to be a great, for me, she's a legend for United, and it's just onwards and upwards, and she's going to show the world now. Can't wait.
Everyone's got can only say positive things about LJ, can't they? Even the rival fans, the people, when they are being serious, whether it be on Twitter or you see them on maybe even your YouTube show, Nat, on the warm up, people will talk about LJ there, and even last season, everyone's got fond words to say of LJ. Zoe, what's your opinions of how well LJ is doing over the course of the last couple of years?
Well, like you said, I think it's been coming for a long time. I've always been in awe of the way she plays, because she's just so skilled. When it's a joy to watch her, and I think as well, like over the course of last season, particularly. I think last night they said on MUTV that she's set to be one of the best players, certainly in Europe, and I really do agree with them, because she can just dance around defenders, and she just stays calm. She's not afraid to stand up to them and say, well, you want it, come and get it, kind of thing. And then she'll just and I remember last season, it was a game that we actually lost to City, but I've never celebrated a goal so hard as when she kicked around them defenders and just took a shot and it went in. And like I said, we didn't win it, but that's one of my, the moments that really sticks out to me, just because how I was just in awe of the way she played. And the fact that she's at Man United just really excites me.
Yeah. Well, I remember talking over the summer, hopefully, we can keep her. I can't see any reason why LJ would want to leave, especially if we do get into Europe next year. There is no reason to go elsewhere, is there? She can see all the players coming in. She can see how we've developed. Obviously, LJ is quality, but no one's bigger than Man United, and I don't think that any player at the club at the moment would want to leave Man United with what we've doing so far, and having Casey as a manager. Talk about Casey, nominated for Manager of the Month. Natalie, obviously no surprises. She's got to win, hasn't she, surely?
Yeah, 100%. Well, whether she will, whether rivals will gang up and vote against Casey, whether they'll gang up and vote against Tobin, who knows? For me, she's got to win. It's clear, it's obvious, but even if she doesn't, who cares? We're so, that unity, it's so far ahead. It's so together. It's just, I've not seen this. We were great in the Championship, and it was a really great team unity, but I've not seen this. No matter if they go behind, no matter, if they go in front, it's just, they know they're going to win, and it's just, they're not going to be beaten. They're going to fight to the end, and this is the United spirit. And Casey Stoney, it's just fantastic what she's putting into this team and the way she's making them play. And like you say, I think, skill and all that goes so far in football, but I think you've got to have that grit, that determination and that unity together, because it's a team game. And, you can have the best 11 players on the pitch. It doesn't matter if you're not together. If the more together you are, the more likely you're probably going to win, So I've just seen a fact there. She's never won it. So listen, I am not holding my breath that she's going to win it, but it won't surprise me, And you know why? We've just said it. You see in Everton, you see in City, you see in Liverpool going up.
Yeah.
When do you ever see that? So they'll make it happen to just stop it.
But like you say, it doesn't matter because no other club can turn around and say that they can drop 2 league positions and still be happy. If Arsenal drop 2 league positions and go to 4th, they wouldn't be happy. Chelsea, if they drop 2 positions, they wouldn't be happy. We're so far. That's what I'm saying. Even if we don't win, everyone knows how well Man United have started so far, because we're above our ceiling, I guess. Obviously, whereas everybody else is trying to get to their ceiling. So it's quite obvious what she's achieved so far. Zoe, obviously, you're going to be a big fan of Casey Stoney. How well do you think she's done with this United side so far?
Yeah, she keeps saying in interviews that they're kind of ahead of the game plan really. I mean, she can do anything with this side, really. I mean, I never ever imagined that we'd beat Arsenal. And when we were like in that match and we played so well, I thought we deserved to get something out of it. But even then, in the later stages of the second half, before we scored, I thought I'll be happy with this draw because they've played excellently. They haven't let Arsenal in. It's been brilliant, and this draw is going to be a great result. And then they get the win, and they didn't let it slide. So yeah, we played City the next week, and we're 2-0 down, and you were thinking, okay, all the players came out and said this Arsenal win means nothing unless we beat City or unless we get a result at City. And for them to have that, you felt like Casey was talking through the players, really. And then for them to come back out in that second half and get that result, I do believe that anything is possible with Casey as a manager now. And I just think the fact that the far exceeded themselves in the targets, she definitely deserves manager of the month. She deserves manager of the year to me, but yes, might just be biased.
So she might get it, hasn't she? Even if we come third in the league, she's still got to be a contender for manager of the season. If that's the case, we're about to break into that top three. And you talk about team spirit. Obviously, we've got an abundance of that. Nat, I mean, what are your thoughts on how she's actually taken this team like this season? Like, she's gone from like fourth to first, and she looks like she's maintaining it so far. It's something special, isn't it? Absolutely.
It's different class. It's her showing herself as the quality manager, world class. That's as far as I'll go to say. And people might say, oh, this and that, but I've seen people. This one, she's still young and learning, and for me, she's just doing things that managers there are below her that have got so much experience, so much know-how in the women's game. Yes, she's been managed before. She did a little brief spell as a player manager at Chelsea, but it wasn't anything. This is her first official in the hot seat, running a club, running the biggest club in the world, bear in mind, you're seeing people now talking, oh, they should have done this and they should have done that a while ago. She picked it up. Even when we're in the championship, you shouldn't be here. You should be doing this. You should start from the bottom. You should start from the top. All this constant is at her because it's Man United. And then she's still going ahead and shining. And I think, I know we're going to go on to it, but, she's been outwitted at times, but then she knows and she sees it and she can change it. She can adapt to situations. It's just a joy. And I mean, for me now as well, like we started at the start of the show, she's not afraid as well. She's got a run of, whereas other managers, they might feel like they have to say something, they're told to say things. They're told they can only say this, they can't say that. Whereas I feel like United, it's like Fergie in a way. I'll say what I want to say. I'll say stuff about the England camps shouldn't be meeting up so many times. I'll say stuff about, the government aren't putting enough money in. And, she'll say stuff that other managers are scared. And I think it's just because, there was a podcast before, Andy Mitten, and he did shout out the Barmy Army and he shouted out all the United fans, but he said the way that Casey's respected at Old Trafford, everyone from top to bottom speaks so highly of her, and I think it's just, you can tell that now, and you can tell she's sort of coming into her own. And, I know people say, oh, she's going to be England manager one day. Listen, she don't want to be no England manager because she hasn't got that, and I don't know if it's the right word, autonomy. Is that the right word? Where she has that freedom. She has the ability to do what she wants. And, it's just the only way her leaving. I know we're not at the top now. We're not Leon. We're not this. But leaving Man United, the only way for her is down. So going to England wouldn't be the one for her.
Yeah. We spoke about Casey so many times, but I just think because she has been nominated for the manager of the month, it's definitely worth reiterating what she has done in such a short time. And if there are any United fans who are new to the women's team, then just do a bit of research. Just go back on some old YouTube videos or MUTV, wherever you get your information from. Just have a look and see where she took the team from to where the team is now. And yeah, she might not sustain top, but we don't need to be. I think a top three is more than good enough this season. But yeah, at the moment we are top, and I can't see us dropping that just yet because we are still doing so well. And I think the difference this season compared to previous seasons is we've always had passion for the badge, absolutely, but we never really had that like winning mentality because we've never won before. Not, we've never won any of the big rivals. I think that Chelsea game at the start of the season gave us that bit of hope and that bit of experience and know-how and belief that they can do it. And now, all of a sudden, to draw against City is almost like, but we never won. This time last season, a draw against City would have been, well done, we got a draw against City. This is all of a sudden where we've come in 12 months. I think a big part of the City draw was down to Tobin Heath in that first game. So I just wanted to quickly mention Tobin Heath, how well she's played. Obviously, she was in the team of the week last week, I believe. The weekend just gone. Nominated for Player of the Month this month. Zoe, how do you think Tobin's settled in?
It's amazing how well she settled in, really. It was interesting with having such a buzz around the American players coming to the WSL. Of course, you had all that with Alex Morgan at Spurs, and I mean, every game they seem to show more of Alex Morgan sat on the bench than they do the match. And then you've got like the Americans at City. So it was kind of interesting to see how all of them were going to settle in. And I think again, I might be biased, but out of watching all of them, I think Tobin Heath has made the most impact at her club. And what I really like is that it means something to her as well, because of course it was the fact that they all came over was because they couldn't play in America, and they needed to keep up the game time and the fitness and whatnot. And is that all they're doing it for? And that was a worry, that they're just coming over to get something out of it for themselves and not for the club and the WSL. But you can't say that about Tobin. And one prime example is that incredible strike against City and then her reaction afterwards. And I think that, I think we all loved her for that, kissing the badge and whatnot. But it was the way she rallied the team as well. Like, come on, we're in this, we can do it. And I just think to have that impact as a player but as part of a team, it's really special. So I'm really pleased with how she's settled in.
Yeah, we'll drift into City matches now. I thought she was absolutely fantastic. That was probably one of the best standout performances by a single player that I've seen for a long time. Like you say, Zoe, not just because of her talent, but the way that she got that team going. And I don't think the team necessarily needed to get going, but she stood out. She was the one that was the most vocal. She was the one that was basically grabbing the game by the scruff of its neck. One of the players was down injured, and she was giving the team talk. And this was when there was like 2-0 down or maybe 2-1 down. She, to me, looked like Casey's mouthpiece on the pitch. And it does make you wonder how does her and Press help off the pitch as well, like training games, how involved is Tobin and how involved is Christian Press in the training as well. And we said before the season started, Tobin and Christian Press will help off the pitch and develop the youngsters and give that winning mentality, and that's exactly what Tobin showed in that match. And I'm not disregarding any of the other matches that she's played in, but for me, that was just a pinnacle. And the goal itself, we'll talk about in a second. Natalie, go on.
For me, you just sort of said a few points, like the way that they're helping. Even I want to go back a game, the Arsenal game, and Casey came out and said after, and I know what Casey's like. She's like, "Oh, fine, we're not scoring goals," but Kristen said to her, "No, it means we're getting closer." And you saw Casey's mind go, "Actually, she's right. That's the mentality we want. We're closer to scoring." Mm-hmm. And I think those little things are just helping him. And I think, she's definitely, like you said, the mouthpiece, how much is it both working off each other, because when she was selected for this other team, Louisiana or whatever, I don't know a lot about this, but when they were selected, Casey said, "Well, I've gone to check and I would hate this if I was a player. So I'm coming to them to make sure that they're okay." And I think, the way they first came in and started saying, Casey, the way they speak about her, she's amazing. And Casey just played it down. But you can tell, because even when you see a picture and Casey's like, do this, do that, they're looking at her like, wow, you know, in all the way, the whole squad's looking at her like that. And I just think she's amazing, Tobin. But you can just see how like these little things are helping the team. And, you know, I was a bit like Zoe at the start. Are they just coming in because, they need football? We've had Rich on here and he said, without COVID, would they be here? Probably not. But, we're hearing little whispers. They might stay longer. They're really enjoying the time. They're going to potentially stay here until next year. Who knows? But the fact that they are really enjoying the time, the fact that, their shirts are selling more, all little things like that, they're really integrated. And then obviously, just before that game, she said what she said. And we've been taught that Manchester is red. No one goes. And I just thought, wow, like, you are actually saying it like a man would say it. No one goes City. It's empty ad. The empty ad state. She didn't go far saying that, but that's what she was saying. They're a small club, tin pot team, And I just thought, my guy. And I thought, who the hell's taught her that? That is, you can tell how together, how, it's the same. It's just one club. That's how United fans speak about City. You know what I mean? And just saying that, and then it was an awful first half, but the way she just came back and went bang, Manchester's red. Yeah, I said it, and now I'm showing you, and then grabbed the badge, and tell how much passion was behind that. But I can see that comment, and I just wanted to say my piece, but John, well, both Johns, that comment, this girl has absolutely been amazing for us.
Yeah, and that block that she made in the, I can't remember, was it the second game, just before we went to the penalty shootout? Was it the?
Yeah, it was.
In the way. That was fantastic to do. Going back to Tobin, and Zoe mentioned it earlier about kissing the badge and the celebration after the goal. Everything about that goal to me was just fantastic. The high press, the way that they forced City into making a mistake. Obviously, the goal was fantastic. The way Tooney never even celebrated, she ran straight to get the ball at the back of the net. The way Tobin then kissed the badge, the way she turned around and shouted to the rest of the players, "Come on," as if she was a fan. Just absolutely everything about that goal was it just made you think that she's been with the club for such a long time, and she hasn't. But as you says, Nat, to her, it looks like she's a big fan of the club, and hopefully she does stay even longer as well. And touching on like that coaching side and supporting Casey a little bit as well. I've done the Feel Good Friday for the Barmy Army this week, and I've just done a little bit of research on Casey, and I think I put it on one of the messages to you, Nat, about the starting lineup. Literally 2.5 years ago, Casey's last game, she was playing centre back with Alex Greenwood, Amy Turner, and Martha Harris. 2.5 years ago, literally 6 months later, she was coaching them players. So how far was she coming in such a short time for actually being basically the Millie Turner role to all of a sudden managing or being the head coach of such a massive club with high ambition, high expectations? Again, I'm speaking more about Casey Stone again now than I am Tobin Heath, but I can't speak highly enough of how far she's come in such a short amount of time. And any criticism that Casey does get and will get is still minor in the grand scheme of things of what she's done so far. As for the game itself, City, Zoe, what was your thoughts on the City games?
Well, the first one, at half time, well, all through that first half, I'm thinking, where's the team that beat Arsenal? And we'd made one change, and I'm like, they just look completely different. Like, why aren't they pressing them? Why are they giving to them so much space? Why are they afraid to tackle as well? Because it's a derby, and I don't want anyone to get hurt, but I want to see cards flying and stuff. I don't want to see them afraid of getting that ball. So I was really kind of disappointed in them. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like saying anything negative, but I was getting so frustrated, to the point that 2-0 down at halftime, I'm like, I might have to switch this off because I might give myself a heart attack or something. But I persisted, and I'm glad I did, because the second half was just incredible. And I felt sure that, I was thinking, Casey isn't what I love the way she manages, just from watching her. Like, obviously we don't know what goes on inside the dressing room, but just from watching her on the touchline, there's so many managers in the WSL, I think, that are just a bit laid back, and Casey isn't like that at all, and that's what I like to see. I want to see my manager yelling at the team and telling them to get their act together. So I felt sure that she'd gone in the dressing room at halftime and, you know, like we always said about Fergie, throwing the tea over him, you know, kicking stuff, whatnot. But she came out and said that she didn't do that because the players knew themselves. But yeah, the turnaround, something got said in that dressing room, and it was incredible, that comeback. So really pleased, even though it was only a draw, we could have gone on to win that game, but it was. And also, I think we should mention Jackie Gronin as well, because if you watch that, I mean, I've watched it millions of times since that Tobin Heath goal, and you can see Tobin pressing and Jackie pressing, and I think it was the pair of them that kind of forced the mistake together. So I think that she deserves some credit for that goal as well. But yeah, it was incredible, that first game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Jackie's probably been my player of the season so far for United. Closely followed by a couple of others, but I think Jackie's been the most consistent one. She's played the most as well, whereas some of the other contenders may have not played in a couple of games due to injury or something. But yeah, Jackie's been absolutely outstanding. I mean, Nat, what do you think was said at halftime? Or what do you think that they did different? I think one thing that Casey does do, she admits if she admits it, she holds her hands up.
Accountability. Yeah. That accountability. I mean, some people say, we don't have that in the men's team, and that accountability is fantastic. It's what you want to see. People saying second half FC, but I know Casey said, she didn't do that. But for me, someone sent a rocket, whether it was Tobin, someone sent a rocket to them and said, "This is not Man United. What are you doing?" Whether she went in there and said Man United red. And thanks, Rush Mano. Really appreciate it. Whether she said, but someone sent a rocket, and I like it though that she said they knew it wasn't good enough. And I think every time we do have these performances, they do know it's not good enough. People say, "Oh, you can't criticize women's football," but they know what's the standards of Manchester United. They said it themselves, so they know that first half was way below it. And Tobin just came out, Jackie came out. A lot of people were saying stuff about Honor, and I've not heard them say it since. But she had a poor first half, but even she knows her standards. And I know for you say Jackie, but for me, I think Honor is Honor's my player of the season. I just think the way her in that back line is. I wish we had two of them. I wish we had two, because you just want her on both flanks, and she's amazing. But Leah, she started off at left back. She assisted, 2 goals, 2 assists versus West Ham, and the next minute she's playing left back. It's not what you're thinking from the best left winger in the WSL. Now she's the best left back in the WSL. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really good. It was the Man United way. I've not seen football like that for a while. I'm really so super proud. And like you said, Zoe said, I think another 10 more minutes and it would have been 3-2 Man United. But, we're only here. We're only a little team, 2 years. So it's a long way to go and a lot more development, but it's looking good.
Yeah. I'm not scared about going 1-0 down against these big teams anymore. We showed it against, against Chelsea, and 2-0 down against City. We showed it again. It's true. It's just we've just got that belief now, haven't we? And it's just great. It's a great feeling. Obviously, you don't want to be 1-0 down, especially against top teams. But whereas before, you might think to ourselves, "Oh, that's it now. We haven't got the capabilities to come back." This season, we have, and that's a mixture of new signings, but also just that belief inside them. Zoe, the Kirsty Hansen equaliser, kicked it with her left foot, I think, and the ball never even bounced, and she kicked it with the right foot, and it went in the goal. How impressed have you been with Kirsty Hansen this season?
Yeah, really impressed. She surprised me, actually. I think, I mean, it's easy to kind of get your favourite players and stuff, but there are players throughout a season, and like last season, there was a few standout players to me that really impressed me, like the likes of Leah Galton. And yeah, Kirsty Hansen, just for me, didn't really impress me until this season. And now I mean, I don't know what the turnaround was with her, but she's doing really well, and it's just so good to see. And she seems to really be enjoying it as well, enjoying the football and making a difference when she comes on the pitch. And I think that's really important to have subs that, because with the team that we've got now, the squad that we've got, some of our best players from last season are not going to get on the pitch straight away. But to have that desire to come on and make a difference and kind of prove that they deserve to be considered every game, I think, it takes a lot of guts to kind of get into the mentality of, okay, I haven't been picked, but I'm not going to let that affect me. I'm when I do get my chance, I'm going to step up and make a difference. And I think Kirsty Hansen is the kind of player now that is prepared to step up and make the difference. So yeah, I was really impressed. It was a bit of a scrappy goal, but I was impressed with the way that she kept persisting. So
yeah, I'm really glad that she got the goal as well. I think she thoroughly deserves her chance in the starting 11, because obviously when we signed the 3 new forwards, well, I say 3, I'm just talking about Musso, Press and Heath at the moment, it did probably make Hansen a little bit wary, and Galton as well, because these are fantastic signings. But Hansen, whenever she's been called upon this season, she's either gave an assist or scored a goal or something, and she's played really well. And I'm really happy to see her, how she's doing, and she looks very physical, a lot stronger than she looked last season. And I think she's growing in confidence as well, because everything that she's doing is coming off. She's getting these good performances, she's scoring the goals, and usually with, I say, quieter people, she come across quiet the first couple of seasons. She might be coming out of the shell a little bit more now, but usually these quieter players just need a bit of confidence. And I'm sure she's getting a word in the ear with Casey, but there's nothing better than confidence than scoring a goal. And yeah, she's definitely growing in confidence. What was your thoughts on the equaliser, Natalie?
Oh, I thought it was coming, definitely. I didn't think that they'd be able to. I think Millie had a header before. We were just peppering them. They couldn't get out. Game changers. That's what she was. She came on, changed the game, and just credit to her. And like Zoe's saying, for me, I've always rated Hansen, but she has it in like spurts. She has like really good games, really quieter games. You could see why Casey started Jess, because for me, I think Jess had a really good second half versus Arsenal. So obviously she thought, I'll keep that Jess in. But Hansen, she works up and down. She was helping a lot. She was helping Honor a lot. And she just was consistent in her performance, consistent, and she was there. And there was a point when after she scored that goal, I mean, we all went mad. But after she scored that goal, Lucy Staniforth had a header. They cleared it off the line, and who was there just in front of the line? Trying to get that. If they cleared it straight out, I think they kicked it off to the side. But it was Hansen who was there, pushing, pressing that goalkeeper to potentially get a third. And, I think, I have said it. If it was another 10 minutes, it was only going one way for me. It was only going our way. I mean, the way it all started, her coming on, not giving them time, not giving them space, stronger physically and mentally, I agree. Yeah. And I think, she's getting the credit now that she deserves. When everyone thinks of that game, they're going to think of that goal, isn't it? And, she was that game changer that day. And, you might not start every game, but you can come off the bench and you can change it, and you can be the one that everyone's talking about. Yeah.
Nat, you mentioned in another 10 minutes we would have gone on to win that game. I agree. But 5 days later, we had another 90 minutes in the Conti Cup. It's slightly different for me. It was a lot less open to me. I think it was a lot more cagey, less shots. It seemed, from my opinion, that we was being more was being more cautious at the back in the hope to get a goal. Definitely not playing for a draw. That's not what I mean. But being very solid at the back, knowing full well you've got people, players at the front who can pinch a goal or two. Obviously there was no goals, but was there any standout moments for yourself there, Zoe, in that game?
Yeah, and I want to touch on something that Nat said before about Leah Galton switching position, and now becoming one of the best left backs in the league. And I think in that first game against City, she had a few moments that, weren't quite so good. A few clearances that didn't quite get clear. But in that game yesterday, I thought she really upped the game in such a short space of time as well. I thought she did really well. She was, there was a few times when the commentators said as well that was a really good block. She was like fearlessly defending and, wasn't afraid of, taking a ball to the face or whatever. And I think for me, like you said, that there was less. It felt like there was less shots. So for me, the defense was kind of the standout really. And to see Leah go from what we were used to last season with, creating all those opportunities to now finding like a new place on the pitch, which she's kind of had to because of how good our squad is. I think Casey said in the past that she wants both Tobin and Leah on the pitch. And, sometimes it's difficult to get all those great players in the positions that they want to play in on the pitch. And so she's really kind of stepped up to the challenge for me in playing at that left back position. And, I thought yesterday she showed why she should be on the pitch and why she should be playing there. So, yeah.
Talk about strength in depth. Natalie, 5 changes in that game. LJ got her first start of the season. As one of LJ's biggest fans, if not the biggest fan, how did you feel that she started that game?
So happy. She's been out. I mean, I think Casey even said it. She's been out 10 months. She actually didn't play our last game with fans. It was versus Everton in March. She was in a boot then. So, she has been out all that time. She had a little setback because she came on versus Chelsea. I think she had a little setback. So she's really, not struggled, but, she's had an injury. She's been out for a long time. She's not played football and she came back and she looks like a different player to me. She looks so strong, even stronger and, even more skillful. I mean, last year it was all through LJ. If LJ was injured, we didn't know what, who else was going to score. It sort of felt like it was like, just pass the ball to LJ, pass the ball to LJ. If you kept Lucy Bronze, I guess that's about Leah. Yeah. But we just passed the ball to LJ. And this year, not that we haven't needed her, but just thinking about, oh my God, LJ's back now. And, we've got Press there, we've got Tobin there, Russo's now injured. I mean, God, imagine if Russo and LJ, I mean, it's just different. It's not even worth thinking about. But one of the standout moments for me was seeing LJ on the left and Tobin on the right. I think that was right. LJ on the left. Well, whatever. They were on either wing. Tobin beat a player, beat a man, beat a marker. And she was just about to cross it in. And I just saw this person sprint. And I thought, wow, that's going to be LJ. And she put it in and it was just boom. Right into the, well, if it was probably a bit more, it was a good shot into the corner. The keeper did well on it, to be fair, But I'm just thinking, wow, LJ, and she's not even played this long, and the way she moved, it was just great to see. She was holding the ball. They were like flies around her, and she was just brushing them all off. And, I saw one point, I think it was an off-the-ball thing. One of their players were like squaring up to her because she tackled another one, and I just thought, that's LJ, great. And I just love it. She's back. She's going to show England what she's about. And yeah, it's just onwards and upwards with what we're going to do. And, I just want to say another player. I know we talked about the left back, but right back, Honor. And I know I've sort of said a name, but for me, she was swapping with Leah. So there's one point she was left back and then she was swapping back. And, she really proved herself because, like I said, a lot of people have been talking about her, saying, "Oh, is she even that good?" You know, just because she had a bad first half. But they were, you know, I was hearing people saying that, and I think, you know, she needs a lot of credit. She's come in 21 years old, and she's lighting up the WSL, and she doesn't speak a word of English. Well, maybe she does a bit now with LJ, but you know, she is fantastic, and it's just onwards and upwards all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and just before the penalties, Jess had a shot as well, didn't she? That would have been great if that went in. Great for Jess as well. Obviously, hasn't had much game time this season due to her injury. Big shout out to Tooney for reading that pass, then going on that run. She had Jess to the right of her, managed to find fantastic pass. But I think it just wasn't hard enough, was it? It was just I don't know if it was a side foot placement or she just didn't quite. Do it this time.
We brought on Tooney, and then I think she made a difference. And it's like that game changers. Tooney's been starting a lot of our games, and it's been other players. It's been Jess that's been changing the game. It's been Hanson, but this time Tooney came on and was a game changer herself. And you know, it just shows the squad, the mentality. It doesn't matter if you're starting. Doesn't matter, you know, if you're on the bench. You can come on and you can have an impact on this game at any point. And you know, I think that they believe in that now. I will come on and I will change this game. And, you know, it's just, you know, it's good to see all the penalties as well. I know I'll get onto them, but it was just good to see, you know, the penalties were so cool, calm, collected, boom, bottom corner. Haley went top, but, you know, it was just in the corner, and it's just consistent. And, you know, I think I'm just going to say a little thing. They went and did the shootout in front of the Barmy Army.
Yeah.
I knew that the minute they chose that end, I knew we'd won.
Yeah. I specifically mentioned that myself on the article that I read for the United Stand. I did mention that they'd done it in front of the Barmy Army flags, and it was great to see Alex Greenwood miss that penalty at the end there as well in front of the flags. And I heard the commentators or some pundits after the game on MUTV saying that the players were spoiling and joking with Alex Greenwood in a positive way for them. Obviously, the mates have known each other for years, I'm sure. But surely Alex would have been disappointed with missing that and should have been kicking herself 100%. It doesn't matter if the players get on or not. She'll know that like there's fans out there that will be like giving her heat. And imagine if we was in the stadium and we saw Alex Greenwood miss that penalty. Oh, flipping hell. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I don't understand, John. It's fantastic. It's great. This is what we want. We want women's football. I mean, God, it would have been great. I mean, it would have been great in the first game. It would have been great in the second game. And I think that's how you know you're in their heads, because they're all talking about us celebrating and being happy. You know, for me, I'm looking at someone like Emily Ramsey, 2 fantastic saves. You know, she's not played a lot of games. This is her second game this season. Would have played a lot more games had COVID not happened because she went on loan. You know, she's missed basically some of her development, and she played. She had a few mistakes in her, and she'll even know that. But she did a 0-0 draw against City, and then made 2 penalty saves. I mean, give over, and that's why, you know, like we're saying, we're in the heads, and you know it's only onwards and upwards now. And Man United, it's great to see. We're living rent free, and the rivalry grows. But everyone knows Manchester's red.
100%. Zoe, what did you think about that penalty shootout?
Yeah, I watched it behind a cushion. I've never been very good with penalties. I mean, I remember 2018 World Cup in England going to penalty shootouts, and I went and signed my car across the road. And then I just heard the cheer of all the houses around. So even though like we sort of kind of worked it out and figured out that it wasn't going to make a huge bit of difference whether we scored them all or not. But I wanted the girls to do well for themselves, for their own confidence boost, and for bragging rights in Manchester. So I was really nervous for them, but I did see every penalty on the replays. My gran told me if it went in or not. But yeah, I think Rambo did really good. I mean, I must say I was quite critical of her in the game. That, like you said, there was just a couple of mistakes, but you know, I had to remind myself that she hasn't had as much game time, certainly not for us. And as you said, she'd only just kind of gone out on loan when the season stopped because of COVID. So, yeah, she hasn't had enough game time, really. I thought it was a big ask to throw her out there, really, in front of City. I think she was nervous, and, that showed in the start of a game. But like you said, to keep a clean sheet and then to go into that penalty shootout and, make that save, it will have done her confidence so much good. So I think she should be really proud of herself. And, yeah, so should the rest of the team for stepping up and scoring.
Yeah, I think you guys hit the nail on the head there with Rambo. Sometimes you just need to step back, don't you? And you can analyse every pass or every save that she makes or whatever, but the top and tail of it is she kept a clean sheet, kept a clean sheet against City, and I'm really, really happy that all the players ran over to her to celebrate when we did win that penalty shootout, and the Twitter account, the official Twitter account, really bigged Rambo up as well. I know I commented on it as well. And we don't get that much chance to celebrate success with Rambo because she doesn't play that often. And I don't know what really some people would expect from her when she's hardly played. She's still a youngster. She's still learning the trade. This is the only game that she's really going to play in the Conti Cup. And she's on the winning side, winning the penalty shootout. So fantastic for her. From one goalkeeper to another. The reason why we got Zoe on the show today is to talk about Mary MUWFC. Ben mentioned it last week. I think it was last week. The goalkeepers don't get enough credit or as much exposure. I think I'm guilty of this, and me and Natalie have talked behind the scenes saying, what can we do to kind of, help and change that, So we've got one of Mary's biggest fans on the show in Zoe. Are you wearing the shirt now, are you?
I am, yeah. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see.
Go on, just turn around. Yeah.
It was also so hard to get hold of this shirt as well. So, so I kind of wanted this shirt late in the season last year. And I went to the store. They didn't have it. Everywhere was sold out. Anyway, a fellow Barmy Army member, Sarah, went above and beyond to source one for me, and now I wear it all the time.
I remember you putting that story on the group chat, Zoe, about when Sarah got you that shirt. Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, Zoe, just roll with it then. Tell us why you like Mary so much and how good she is, and what your thoughts are on Mary.
Well, as a kid, I always played as a goalkeeper. So for me, I've always my favourite men's player was always Edwin van der Sar. So I've always been drawn to goalkeepers. But one reason why I like Mary so much is actually not because of how good she is on the pitch, but it's a work rate as well. I mean, when we go to the game, she's the first one out. And she turns around to the Barmy Army and she applauds. She really appreciates the support that we give her. And I think that's important. And then, we see her before the game, training, working hard. And then she's also the last one in afterwards. And, we talk all the time about growing the women's game and stuff. And, they do things like put us in the men's stadium and stuff. But I really do think it's about getting the youngsters involved, and Mary makes an effort to go up to every child afterwards, if obviously if they're waiting for her, and it doesn't matter how a game's gone, really. She goes up to them, she takes the time to inspire them, and I think that's really important in the women's game. And I think she works the hardest in that side of things. But yeah, on the pitch, I think she's been excellent. I mean, there's been a few times, I'm Mary's biggest fan, but I'll admit that occasionally there's the odd thing that she could work on. But she knows it. You can see it on her face. Even if it didn't lead to a goal, she knows, I could have done better with that kick, or, I should have done a little bit better with that save or whatever. And it's just the fact that she knows and she's willing to work on it. And, she's made some world-class saves last season, definitely. I can remember quite a number just being stood at away games going, wow. So yeah, that's one reason why Mary is my favourite player.
Yeah, and I spoke about the bigger picture. I think the amount of points that she's cost us is minimal, and the amount of points that she's saved us is massive. So I'm really glad to hear you say all these good things. And Natalie, obviously, Mary MUWFC is really popular with the fans, and she's always on social media and saying lots of things on there. Do you just echo what Zoe's just said?
Yeah, definitely. Like, Mary's the first one out, and I was watching a little video when the keepers came out to warm up, and it just, this was last night, and I was just thinking, under the lights, Mary MUWFC, it's just, I would have been bouncing, even though Rambo started, it was all about Rambo, but just singing for her, and we miss it, man. And it just, that interaction, that she goes above and beyond, like Zoe's saying. It's just Chelsea start the season, someone saying, and I think she did really well there. She kept us in the game. I think she did well against Arsenal, even though potentially she didn't have a lot of shots. But I think, big games, that's when you need your keepers to keep you in it. And I always remember it was your first game, Zoe, Spurs, and there was that one where she tipped it over the bar, and it's just quality saves, and you can tell how much she buzzes off it as well. And we love Mary. Everyone loves her.
Yeah.
So Zoe's loves her so much that we want to do something a little bit different on the show right now. Have you got something there with you at all, Zoe?
I have, yeah. So, got my guitar here, my Taylor Swift guitar. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, we can see it, yeah. So, a little bit of background. During the first lockdown, Zoe has got a YouTube channel, and she did quite a few episodes of the Lockdown Lounge where she sang her favourite songs, and a few of the times she sang about Manchester United players. That's the introduction, Zoe. You just go with it. You go with it.
We'll join.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna show you where Mary's chant fits in, really. So I'm gonna start off by playing "Don't You Want Me, Baby," and then we'll go into chanting about Mary. You were working as a waitress in a cocktail bar when I met you. I picked you out, I shook you up and turned you around, turned you into someone new. Now 5 years later on, you've got the world at your feet. Success has been so easy for you. But don't forget it's me who put you where you are now, and I can put you back down too. Don't you want me? You know I can't believe it when I hear that you won't see me. Don't you want me? You know I don't believe you when you say that you don't need me. Trust me and you'll find, if you think you'll change your mind, you better change it back or we will both be sorry. Mary,
Baby.
Mary, Mary, baby, Mary, baby, Mary,
that's it. All right.
Thank you very much, Zoe. Thank you. Was there another one that you wanted to do for us?
So another one of my favourite players, certainly this season, is Jackie Gronin. She's been very consistent, in my opinion, and I think she's made a massive impact this season. So, also when I did this one, I think I did about 4 players, and it was Jackie who responded actually, and retweeted it and stuff. So it actually got me a lot more views on YouTube. So thank you, Jackie. So I thought I'd just play Jackie's chant if I can remember it.
Go for it.
When we saw you, Jackie, swept me up. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. When we signed you, Jackie, we sent 1,000 tweets. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. We get excited and we fall in love. I just can't seem to get enough.
I miss it. Makes you miss it so much more. Being in the ground and just, it's for the love. It's for the game. It's for the girls, but it's just togetherness. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I must say though, I think that that's one thing I'd like to tell the world is that's what's so good about the Barmy Army is that even though we're not together, we are all together. Like, not just the watch-alongs, but even when we didn't have football, just the conversation was kept up, and like the podcast kept on going, and it was just so great to watch and be involved in. And also, we got regular emails from the Barmy Army, kind of checking that we were okay and sending us little quizzes to do and stuff. And it was just, it is togetherness, even when we're not together, and it's just a wonderful thing to be a part of.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and thank
you again.
And the one thing that we can't do by ourselves is just like chant. Obviously, we just had a bit of fun, but it's so hard when you are by yourself. You can watch YouTube, you can interact on social media, this, that, and the other. But the singing and the chanting together is obviously a lot harder, isn't it? And just having you on the show just makes me just want to go back out there. I was actually having flashbacks of Jackie Gronin when you were just doing that one, and it's great. And hopefully one day in the near future we can all get back there and pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
Thank you again for joining us, Zoe. If people do want to see more of you on YouTube and Twitter, what are all your socials?
Good question. I just forgot, but I think it said you can mainly find me just Zoe, so the word just and Zoe, on Facebook, Twitter, and that'll lead you to my YouTube channel.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you very much. Natalie, final word from yourself. Where can people find you in the Barmy Army?
Obviously, you see my Twitter handle there, Nutty Natty B on Instagram, and at Barmy Army MUWFC. Get on it, guys. Like what Zoe's just said, it's this community, it's being together, even when we're not together and we can't be together. So, just encourage everyone to follow the Barmy Army, join the Barmy Army, like she said, watch-alongs, podcasts, things like that, and, just thanks to All for United for letting us use their platform to push the girls and to push, the community and everything that we're trying to build. We really appreciate it. And, this team is fantastic, and that's why, we love the whole club, and so it's about getting behind them.
Yeah, thank you, Natalie. And there's still definitely a lot more to come from this channel regarding the women's team and the Barmy Army channel as well. It's just all down to time, isn't it? But we can definitely see things growing. We can see the social medias growing. We can see the comments growing. Very quickly. I was just going to sign off, but I will just say this: when I joined Twitter, I think it was May 2019. The only people that would really talk about Man United women's team on Twitter would be the Barmy Army. Now, you're seeing conversations absolutely everywhere on other YouTube accounts, maybe not as big as this one, but there are conversations from people in America now and all over the country. There's comments, and there's a lot more positive comments as well, I need to say. And it is growing, and I think rivals know that as well. That's how we started the show, but that's how we can end the show.
Yeah.
It's growing, and that's what Manchester United give you, isn't it? So thank you again for coming on, Zoe. Thank you to everybody in the comments. Great show again today. Natalie, see you next week. Definitely. And thank you. See you all again very soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Zoe.